All the shapes we've drawn so far and moved about and resized have all been the same background colour of blue with the same font colour when used of white, except for the text box, which actually defaults to a white text box with black text within it. Now, you're not restricted to creating just Microsoft Blue shapes. When you're using Word, you can customize your shapes to be any colour, shade, gradient that you like. All you need to do is select the particular object you'd like to change. Let's start with the heart. Who has a blue heart? They're all red, aren't they? Select the object, and then on the Drawing Tools Format Context Sensitive ribbon, we can then control this colour. We have Shape Fill for controlling the colour of the fill. With a little drop down, that gives us access to all the theme colours, and you can see that as you move through the colours, it will colour your heart in, so you can decide whether any of these are appropriate. All the standard colours, obviously red's being appropriate for a heart, or no fill, so your heart is actually see-through, or more fill colours, which will take us to the colour selector so we can choose actually any colour we like, or a choice of standard colours from the hexagon. So that's shape fill, any colour we like. Let's stay with red, I think. Or we can even add a picture in as the fill, or a gradient, and you can see that it will use still the blue here, but different variations of the blue and different gradients, or a texture. Lots of different textures there. All these are all built in and available to choose from. So if we were to go with red, then come back to shape fill and choose gradient, we'd get various nuances of the red. So I can go dark to light, I think. Let's have that one there. So you can see it's sort of darker on one side and lighter on the other. Now that only controls the internal colour. You can see it still has a faint blue border. So that's the shape outline. So in the shape outline, I could choose no outline, in which case it won't have a border, or I could choose any of the colours again, standard colours, theme colours, more colours. I can even control the weight of the line, so I can make it a lot thicker. See how much thicker that is. Obviously blue and red are not the right mix there, so what about a green, and then come back and make it a thicker weighted line? Oh yeah, that's great. And we can even control the line style. It doesn't have to be solid, it can be dots, dashes, bigger dashes, dot dashes, etc. And even more lines, should I want to really play. On the right here, where I have a serious control of the line, solid line, I can use different colours, the transparency, the width, compound type, dash type, and even how the ends make up. I could even add a gradient line and mix a number of colours together. But obviously that's really getting quite messy and complicated, but it does give you that degree of control over your shape. I'm going to go back to the solid line and then close this format option. So the internal colour is controlled by the shape fill. The border is controlled by the outline, both of which can be null effectively. You can have no outline and you can have no fill. Obviously if you make both null, then you'll have an invisible object. And we can even add shape effects, which are a number of presets, some shadow options. Again, you'll see that as you move through, they are previewed anyway. Reflection. So you can see a little heart as a reflection underneath it. The glow. Can't quite see that because it's gone over the object. Soft edges. Makes the border quite fuzzy. Obviously, if you make the border fuzziness too much, the whole object goes fuzzy. 5 point sort of works. A bevel, which makes it more sort of button shape. I quite like that one, indented one there. And the last little choice in there is 3D rotation. So you can actually rotate your heart now at any angle. About that one there. So you've got a lot of choice and a lot of control. Now, all of these options to change the fill, the outline, the shape effects are available for every single object you pick on. So I could do the same for the rectangle, same for the smiley face. Smiley face shouldn't be blue, it should be yellow, shouldn't he? So shape fill, yellow. But it still has that blue border, so go back to the outline and I might go for a black outline. It should really be smiling actually, shouldn't he? So these options apply to any of your shapes. You simply select the shape and then go make your changes on the fill, the outline or the effects. Now if you're not too good at mixing colours together or effects, then you can actually pick some of the pre-built styles here. There's a little drop down. So you might think, oh, that quite looks well together. And you can see it takes effect. The idea here is that somebody, Microsoft, has predefined some good mixes of fill, outline, and effects to give you these choices to save you having to think what will work well together. And you can just simply move through and see which one is appropriate for, in this case, our banner. I might go with that green with black text or green with white text. Slightly chunkier green border. I quite like that white border, so I'm going to choose that option there. And then that style gets applied, in this case, to my banner. So it's a style for those of you that can't think of any combinations. And there are other theme fill options here. Or if you have a good artistic eye, you simply select your object and play with the shape fill options yourself to choose a color, a gradient, even a texture. The outline color, and you can control the width of the line, the type of line, and even put arrowheads on. And then the shape effects for all the shadowy, bevel, 3D rotation options. Now these options still apply when you have a line. Notice the only thing not available here is the shape fill, because it doesn't have a solid shape, it's a line, but that means you can control the line still. Any color. So I could have a red line, I can have a red thicker line, and I can control these arrowheads. At the moment I have one at each end, I might want a dot and then an arrow. So I then have some direction to my arrow. Or again, there's pre-built styles. If you're not too sure what will work well together, here are some pre-built styles for you to apply. And then they get applied to your selected object. So that's every drawn shape object. You simply select it and go into the drawing tools format and make your changes to the style of the shape. If you have a number of drawing objects, obviously this can seem quite long-winded, but you can multiple select objects and change them at the same time. So if I want to do this object and this object, I simply select this one and then shift click this one and they're both selected. Then whatever happens over here, I could just choose one of the styles for demonstration. It will apply to both or all of the selected objects. I may have selected 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So all of the selected objects will then change into the new style.